Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first on the dock for this evening is the capital project monthly report, which will be March's report, right?
Yes. Give us 1 sec, we're trying to get it up here now.
So good evening, everyone. Good evening, members of the board. It's nice to speak with you all again. So we will be presenting the March 2024 monthly report. So as we always do, we will start with the photos there. So starting out with the top two, the top left there is progress, the CEA pool roofing installation progress. So actually, bring us to current day, they have kind of finished that last portion there. So we are watertight, which is great. We'll touch on that in the critical issues. The picture on the top right is an example of the pool shoring. So this is the installation progress. Admittedly, it's not the most grand looking photo. Since then, there is some additional C-channel steel. Really, those sheets go much deeper. So once it's fully excavated, that will really give you a better idea. But nonetheless, it is a very important.
So that's to keep the dirt back as.
Keep from undermining the existing building foundation, yes.
That's probably a good idea.
Yes, we concur. But nonetheless, we did get the shoring complete, so that was a big achievement for the project. So moving on to the second row then, these are both UPK photos. So the one to the left is an exterior view of the new windows that were installed, which look great. And then the photo to the right is really an interior view. So we grabbed a photo from the corridor. Really gives you a nice view of the windows, the ceiling grid, because they framed the ceiling grid up top. Matco dropped in some of their lights, and we did get a nice cleanup. We cleaned a nice clean out of the building, so it's looking really sharp. And then finally, the third row. So the photo to the left there is the TRA. So this is this subfloor. You've heard us talk about the change orders we previously brought forward, and we do have another one to bring forward tonight. But we liked this photo because it really kind of gave you an X-ray view, if you will. You can see how they're building it up. They have progressed substantially farther along in that buildup, but we used this photo again because we thought it gave you a nice inside view as to what it is they're doing. It's pretty cool. And it's very sturdy, I can tell you.
That's good.
Yeah, really. And then lastly, the photo there is actually the new generator at the bus garage. So just wanted to highlight that. So jumping over into the report then, starting as we always do with the project issues and concern. So first, the CEA pool schedule. So as we've previously reported out, this does remain behind. We are continuing to progress work as we will talk through and show them the photos. We are still trending turnover in October. We do believe that is still achievable. As we mentioned about the roof, so the roof installation to enable excavation, we really needed to be watertight. That was the key objective activity we needed to achieve, which we did as of today. We are watertight, so for all intents and purposes, we can start the excavation. And as we mentioned, the shoring tiebacks, that was also complete as of Friday. That contractor has demobilized. So that's another achievement we got. And then in terms of excavation and pool shell layout, so this is something, as you'll notice in the upcoming work, that we are projecting in the next 30 days. So that's coming along well. Lastly, in the critical issues is the tier A third floor, so those wood floor repairs. We are making progress on there. We were just talking with the contractor today. They're going to framing walls. So they've advanced the flooring far enough to where they can start framing walls, which opens up other scopes of work for the MEP contractors to do their roughing. So work is progressing up at tier A, which is great. In terms of the concerns, so the finishing the CEA pool, east masonry wall, the mason has erected their scaffold. They've already started to go. I don't know how many courses they got up, maybe
6, 7 courses up right now.
Yeah, that wall, what we've been told, will be the easiest of the 4, so they probably only have another 3 or 4 days on that wall, and then that wall will be, substantially complete, so, the pool will really be boxed in, if you will. The pool tile delivery, so we were originally told this was a 12-week lead, which was that is considerable, put it here in about July. We talked with the tile rep today, that's more like 8 to 10 weeks, so that's great news. Wall tile is only 2 weeks. And so in the locker rooms, we'll be ready to start putting some wall tile on, which is great. In terms of the TRA ceiling modifications, so this is one that we reviewed with,
We were gonna enhance the design of the 3rd floor ceiling. We sent out some pricing. After a couple of iterations, we determined it was probably not the most cost-effective thing to do at this time within the project. So we kind of pivoted and gone back to the original design. So that's what that note was, because it was gonna hold up installation of the walls, because we wanted to get the new mods to the ceiling in before that. But since then, since we pivoted as of late last week, we can finish the flooring, get that brought up, and then start walls, which will help the mechanical, electrical, plumbing trades get their rough in and help advance the work in that space. So that's good.
And then rounding out the concerns is just, we were just made aware by the mechanical contractor that they have to make some penetrations through the exterior walls, for like fresh air intakes and some of their piping out to the rooftop units. What we've experienced at TRA so far is every time we've touched these exterior walls, there's the black mastic, which is hot. So we do probably have some additional asbestos removals we'll have to do. We are exploring options to mitigate some of it. We don't know if we'll be able to mitigate all of it, but we're trying to reroute ductwork and some of the condensate piping to avoid the hot areas, if you will. That'll be something, if we do have to go through it, it'll be something we have to schedule and sequence out. I mean, it really shouldn't inhibit us too bad, but just something that we were made aware of kind of late last week. Still going through it with the design.
Is that something you have to schedule when there isn't school?
Correct.
Exactly, and since we're beyond spring break, not a ton of days off from here to the end of the year. So that's something our team is trying to, and that's what,
Different ways we could reroute the duct and not have to go through the abatement process, but we're still.
The extra ductwork is probably less than the abatement.
that's exactly, yeah.
And less of the schedule impact.
Okay.
We're working through that with the design team.
Any questions? Otherwise, that really wraps up the issues and
Yeah,
concerns.
I guess one of them was that with the abatement and stuff, so that's the very end of August is what is projected, it's still contractual, so that's the abatement and stuff isn't going to push that back into the start of the school year.
Yeah, we don't anticipate that it's relatively small areas. We're talking exterior duct penetrations, 36 by 36 inches. And then another one that's 12 by 12. So not a huge scope. The rest of the room should be able to build out. If we've got to wait for abatement till school's out, that may just mean we kick everybody out of the space for, 3-4 days, the amount of time it takes to do that abatement, and then allow people back in to continue work. So it's not a huge roadblock, but it is a concern.
Okay, but it won't push things out
It should.
drastically.
Right.
Either way you have to go,
Right.
so.
Yeah, and they have, as Sean mentioned, they have other work to do.
Right, and then I guess, my favorite thing, I guess back to the pool, so it says October, that's the earliest, there's no way to get that.
We're working on it, and there's, our next real big hurdle is to get, the mason out of the way, which we see light at the end of the tunnel with them, and then let's get the pool contractor back in and start the excavation for the pool. The excavation, we're hoping to get started like a week, maybe week and a half ahead of the pool day starting. We don't want to do that too much ahead of time. Then that will potential to have the dirt walls, for the deep
Right.
area will cave in. So we want to leave that exposed as little as possible. So we're coordinating schedules with the pool contractor to come back and try and line that up with the excavation, and hopefully we don't run into any big boulders like we did with the shoring piece.
So I was just gonna mention, you know better than I do, that if that's the best we can do, and then there's a lot more steps, there's a chance of each of those steps getting pushed back as well, so
Yeah.
that's all I was trying to find
Yeah.
out.
So the good news is, once we get up out of the ground and kind of out of the unforeseen conditions.
Yeah.
We can kind of project and control those a little bit better, and maybe perform some things out of sequence to stay on track, or to it recover some time too.
Okay,
So getting up out of the ground is a big hurdle.
thank you.
Or I guess getting into the ground.
We knew what you meant.
I-
Well, you were able to pull the tiles forward, so that was good to win.
Right, and that's part of the critical path.
Yeah,
The-
I'd say
the
that's
critical
pretty
path
good.
is what, directly affects the end date turnover,
Yep.
so yes, pulling back time on that will help pull back the turnover. Right,
Everyone can't wait to use the new pool.
and me included.
Full party.
All right, so if nothing else on the issues and concerns, Sean, you want to do the workforce metrics?
Yeah, we're up to roughly just over 3,100 hours last month. Up to 4,800 total for the project, or 48,000, sorry.
Approaching 50,000.
Which is good.
Mhm.
In terms of our schedule and substantial completion milestones, still trending as we previously reported out. Project budget, not a lot of movement here. In terms of change management, so we're up to about 146 total PCOs. PCOs again being an acronym for potential change orders. And the sum of all of the PCOs leaves us with about 28% unencumbered contingency, which you'll see in just this section below. We're about 71.3% paid out total. That's that bottom right number. So this is tracking well with our burn rate. So the burn rate, in terms of where we're paid out is appropriate for where it should be. In terms of QA, QC reports, so we were pretty busy in the past month. Primarily a lot of them, if there are general contractor upstate companies, they just have the bulk of the scope that's been going on. So, we're constantly out there doing inspections, observations. These range from a variety of, whether it be safety, quality, non-conformance. There's a few different categories of QA, QC inspections we do. So these are some of them still to be closed out. In terms of the field reports and inspections, a lot of the same ATL Atlantic testing, a lot of the same reports that they've been performing recently. So they've been nice to work with. Upcoming material deliveries. So again, this was for March. Keep in mind, this was for March, projecting into April. So a number of these we have since received, but the CEA pool equipment and materials, this is the pool contractors equipment and material. We received a large delivery of this stuff. So this was like the gutter, drain piping. There's some large tank that I still haven't been able to figure out exactly what that is, but I'll follow up with him and figure that out. So we did get a large delivery. The TRA subfloor material, obviously that's how they've been progressing that work up there. UPK windows, which you see were installed, that was the first week of April. And then the UPK exterior brick is going to be towards the end of April. It's going to line up really nice because the masons should finish with the pool east wall, and then we'll be able to transition over to UPK, so we won't lose that, which is really nice.
Yeah, nail them down, keep them here.
That's the use of the little, the tank you got.
The little propane tank, that was for temp heating out there.
No, I'm just saying that the, tank that you said got delivered.
Put the masons in the tank.
It's not a huge tank. I won't
Then
try.
they're gonna wanna finish quicker.
Tom really wants that pool done if you haven't picked up
Oh,
on
no,
that.
I'm just.
It's my granddaughter that wants it.
All their children.
No, I know.
Sorry.
In terms of the upcoming work in the next 30 days, again, this would have theoretically covered the month of April. So at the pool, talked about east wall CMU, shoring installation, which is complete. Roofing, we're about 50% complete with this activity, so got about another week. Weather pending. Last week was not a great week for roofing, as you can
No,
imagine.
This week's supposed to be good.
Yeah, Thursday doesn't look favorable,
Yeah.
but otherwise it should be a nice week, yes. Locker room, MEP buffet and that, they continue to chug away in the locker room, as we mentioned, getting ready for wall tile, so that's awesome. UPK, talked about the windows, bathroom wall tile, ceiling grids, flooring, MEPs. And then TRA, like you said, the flooring repairs, gonna start framing walls, MEP buffing. And then just a few remaining punch list items at the concession facility. These are like exterior items, so we're waiting for the weather to get a bit warm. In terms of the engineering summary, so 213 RFIs to date, of which we had 6 open, so we're doing a good job. Design team's a good job getting responses back to the contractors so they can keep the work flowing. Submittals, only about 6% of the 1,300 remaining submittals are open. These are just miscellaneous items we're chasing down with the contractors, but none of them that are still open have like, schedule impacts them, which is good. We've gotten out of those. And then special inspections, got a lot, 264 to date, a lot of special inspections, which is good. And then punch list, there has been some movement on the punch list items. The commissioning agent came out a month ago or so, did an inspection, progress inspection, and there was a number of items that came out of that. We put those under the punch list because in Procore we can track it really well with the contractors. So that's why the number of total items jumped up a bit. All right, so we'll turn it over to the change order summary.
And since our last board update, we've issued 3 change orders, 2 to the general contractor, 1 to the mechanical. Included a couple different PCOs in each. And then we've also got 1 for board authorization, and that's to put down that second layer of 1/4-inch plywood, if you will, on the 3rd floor. And that's again, a not to exceed amount, and then once we get the final number, we'll back to you with the final cost, but. Any questions on that?
So yeah, that would be TRA GC 66 in the not to exceed amount of 27.
387, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we got it. We got it right here. Well, it looks good, gentlemen. Keep up the good work.
Any questions?
Thank you for coming again. It's really helpful having you guys give us the update, because if we were just to look at this, there's nobody there to answer our questions and stuff.
Yeah, contacts.
So thank you.
Bless you.
It's good that the TRA isn't good with asbestos, but it's not a huge thing, because that's where I would expect more of the slowdowns that occur, the
Yeah.
unforeseen. So that looks good with that.
I kind of like that.
Not out of the woods there yet.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
trying
don't
to jinx
jinx us.
anything, because tomorrow morning you'll go in and you'll find something that's just, but I mean, it looks really nice.
Yes, it does.
Right now.
It's really good. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thank you.
Okay, we have a change order. PCO GC -066 TRA 3rd floor renovation, cost to install 1 layer of 1/4-inch sure reply over new 1/4-inch plywood subfloor not to exceed the amount of $27,387. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? I'm assuming we have need of an executive session. Okay, we're going to recess the public meeting at 6:21 PM to hear discussion on legal matters. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris.
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? And we will.
It's nice and cool.
Okay, we are going to reconvene our regular meeting at 6:27. Correspondence, there is none. We are going to have discussion on the animals in the school policy 8221.
Okay, so thank you, for last meeting saying that you wanted to continue with our current practice. That gave us a little bit of breathing room. I did research after that very, interesting conversation that really Tom led. Thank you. But what it took me down a road where I looked at other policies and all the policies kind of had that same thing.
Yep.
So what I'm gonna suggest and hope you'll agree to is, removing that whole list. And then, leaving it up to the principal's discretion to decide that, you know, we have the proper hygiene and safety precautions in place. Because we don't want to stop doing all the things that we have been doing. And actually, it started to get a little bit scary when I looked at other policies and things that are prohibited and what the Department of Health says, and I thought, oh, you know, lots of things that are really, really cool that we do with our kids. They, you know, best practice, safest practice, maybe would be not do anything, or not ever touch an animal, or ever go and play in the dirt, or any of those things.
Right.
So, I took that section out of prohibited animals. The only section that's in there, is the prohibited dog breeds. And that, we checked with our insurance company, it's the same as every other.
Okay.
Every other
Yeah.
policy, and that's the reason why,
Okay.
because they're more of a bite risk.
Yep.
And then focusing on just making sure that we're being cautious and safe, if, you know, with whatever scenario is proposed. And then also having this checklist, which you all suggested, thank you, because which just makes sure, and we can attach this to the policy on the website when we approve it, so that, just everybody knows they have to go through the process, and it's just, you know, you don't invite poisonous snakes in and not tell anybody.
Thank you.
So Joanne,
Yeah.
just a quick question. I do understand the prohibited list. But if a dog has been certified as a therapy dog and they are part of that prohibited list, will they still be allowed to come in, yes or no?
We just heard from our insurance carrier who said no today.
So maybe we
So
should say no.
Well, yeah,
But there are dogs in this list that are
I know,
often,
I know.
I mean, I know German Shepherds are often
Yep.
like one of those crossover diseases.
Yeah.
But if something should happen and our insurance company says, you know the list and we told you those breeds are not covered.
Somebody.
But if the dog has been certified through the therapy process, I'm just,
Cause
Just
then
asking.
you're gonna get sued on the other end by the
Yeah.
person whose dog it is.
Well, so we actually just had some correspondence. Don't want to dig too deep, but there was some language in that response that made it seem like, you know, maybe if there was a certification there for that dog.
Yeah, I mean, we just got and it was a pretty extensive list of requirements to allow therapy dogs in the school. So again, we just got that a little bit ago. I think we need to meet internally to try to figure it out and really
Okay.
understand.
And it had that prohibited list, but it's also said. It sounded like maybe you could interpret something to say unless they're, you know, they met all the other requirements.
other requirements,
So we have to clarify that.
okay, because a lot of the handlers actually carry the insurance that has to
Right,
do
yeah.
with,
Mhm.
yes.
But then, yeah, but usually it's like, you have to be insured, we have to be insured, everybody has to, and if one of the places and we're one of them,
Right.
then that gets to be, and I agree. It's just unfortunate, all this stuff is, you have lawyers on both sides, they're so diametrically opposed that they're adamant that their side is right, that, we're gonna teach all the students to become lawyers. That's,
I do like this form though, I think.
Yeah.
It has a lot of information and I like that there's a checklist so that anybody who's making the request can easily, okay, yep, I did that, yep, I did that.
Well, that was your idea, you guys.
And you know, it's interesting because I used to bring the school used to actually come to my kennel and I had German Shepherd puppies. Puppies who are 6 and 8 weeks old are probably not gonna bite and hurt somebody.
And then we used to also bring in the police department with our German Shepherd dogs and show them like how the dogs respond and what they do. So just as long as we can think about what that little piece is,
Yeah.
I think that's important for us to think about that. I mean, any puppy, most likely at 6 weeks old is not gonna hurt somebody, but that's just my thought.
So is the board's direction that we just get more clarification on that piece, about the breeds and then the certification?
And maybe the
whether-
age and what's being done with them, yeah.
I think the insurance company would just assume say no.
Yeah,
It's
I get it, I get it, I get it.
Yeah,
I
but
do it with homeowners all the time, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I-
It's zero tolerance.
I think though that,
What
you
do you
know,
think now?
check
I'm good
on
with
what
whatever you say.
certification and what that entails.
Yeah,
Those certifications are intense. No, I know, but if the certification is there, then if they're carrying the proper insurance for a support animal who will help children when somebody dies or somebody kills themselves, I think that's most important.
So we have 2 meetings in May, so we can have an answer by the next meeting. We can have this on our discussion list again, and then hopefully if we can come to some
Do a final
agreement, then we can
reading.
do the final reading
Yep.
still mid-May.
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds perfect.
Cause I had some of the people from Ag and Tech look at it too. And they were reading through and it was already out, so I did it but they also marked where I had marked what I did. They said the same thing.
Right.
The only other thing that isn't in here still, and it is still kind of a stupid thing, but is this all for live animals?
Yes, I mean, do we put live?
I'm just saying that the way it's written, I bring dead animals all the time, and it's like, I would be in trouble because, like I mentioned the last time, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, people are worried, they say, I have allergies, not to these you won't, because there's nothing there to have allergies.
Well, there's a dissection spot, so.
Well, that's here.
There's-
I do that too, but not usually here. and-
Wow.
So, but you
I
need that
still
whole
do that.
beginning section, except for the dissection part, you can put live in.
But are you saying, Tom, you would like to, the flexibility?
If that's not on there, that makes my life half a bit easier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you prefer live, okay.
Cause then I have issues with some of the live stuff too, but. Cause I mean, collecting, you just even go out the
Right.
pond and collect stuff
Yeah.
like I said, we're just going to a point where nobody's ever gonna do
I mean,
anything.
the frogs are starting to lay their eggs. Come on, give me a break.
So, yeah, thank you. I mean, just
Okay.
broadly.
How
This-
good
this-
is the pond life, program at the library? He had gone out and,
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
we do it every year and.
right,
I
Mr.
brought it
Kuchar is
in
where he already
earlier.
has me lined up to go out back. We're gonna be catching live insects and,
I think that's cool.
Yeah, we did
But-
the bug boxes and kept some bugs, yeah.
but like I said, if we catch any spiders.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Okay,
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Okay, there are no policies for first reading. We do, however, have a policy for second reading. Which is to approve the removal of policy number 1512, agenda format, for second reading. May I have a motion?
so moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second,
Second,
thank you,
Molly.
Wally. Brain, yeah. Any thoughts or comments on that?
No.
Anything from you guys? Okay. All those in favor of removing it?
Hi.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstained? Okay, thank you. That brings us to our first opportunity for comments from the public. It is the first one of two. There will be a second one at the end of the meeting. Each speaker will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and the entire public comment period to a maximum of 30 minutes. This may be waived by a majority vote of the board. The board requests that each speaker states their name, residency, and topic of discussion. By law, the board will not permit any public statements regarding individual students or employees. And please be advised that while the board takes public comment very seriously, we are not allowed to comment or respond during the meeting, as this is our opportunity to hear from our stakeholders. Items brought to the attention of the board will be taken under consideration for future responses or action, or the proper staff member will get back to you at the appropriate time. Is there anybody who would like to speak at this time? Crickets. Okay.
We're not allowed in school,
Okay.
not in this space.
Dead or alive.
Not in-
Okay, so commendations.
Okay, we'll start with, the Whitney Point Pre-K 3 and 4 students, faculty and staff for collecting donations for the Broome County Dog Shelter. And thank you to everybody, in the community, all families who donated. Thank you to Betsy Brigard for donating $50 Dollar General gift card to the Whitney Point Care Closet. Thank you to the anonymous donor for a $50 donation to the Whitney Point Care Closet. The Whitney Point High School Community Service Club for volunteering in the Chow Warehouse to help load orders for agencies during the Broome County pickup. Whitney Point High School students who attended the Student Leadership Summit at SUNY Portland, engaging in workshops and presentations regarding their leadership project. Whitney Point TRA students who participated in the TRA Science Fair held on March 21st for the public and March 22nd for the TRA students, faculty, and staff. And thank you very much to the science fair coordinators, faculty, and the staff who made sure everything was organized to come together in such a beautifully successful way. Ms. Kira House.
Pause.
Thank you. I was gonna say, you might probably know. Of Cornell Cooperative Extension for teaching the transitional skills class about composting. Cool. The Rev Theater for visiting the CEA to perform the magic paintbrush for our second graders. The Echoes workshop from the Rev Theater also for visiting the TRA to perform skits for the students. TRA students Ashlyn Lee, Archer McIntyre, and Brinley Smith for being chosen to have their writing pieces included in the Echoes performance. High school art students who have worked, and by the way, look at all the beautiful art right here.
Yeah, very nice.
The
And
art
there's
fund.
also, in the hallway
On the
outside the auditorium is another big display that there's some really gorgeous work in both places.
Yep, beautiful. High school art students who have had their work on display for the 2024 FAST and BCAC Emerging Artist Show. The pieces will be on display at the Oakdale Commons until April 29th. CEA student Madison Brown for being this year's March Madness Math Tournament winner. Ms. Hayes and Whitney Point High School student athlete Logan Griffith for representing Section 4, along with athletes from other area school districts at the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Student Athlete Leadership Conference in Albany. Whitney Point High School students who competed in the Southern Tier Robotics competition at SUNY Broome on April 9th. Whitney Point alumni Kent Maslin and Brandon Corella for their induction into the Section 4 Wrestling Hall of Fame on March 13th. Jeremy Alensky, a Whitney Point alumnus, for visiting the high school art department to share his journey as an artist. Mrs. Goligly, our school safety coordinator, for her role in earning the district's 2024 School Safety Excellence Award at the titanium level, which is a recognition by the Utica National Insurance Group, and the plaque is right here. If you must have them out. Very nice. And then also there's a number of local businesses who have done great things and donated to support students' attendance, both in the TRA and the high school. They have efforts underway where kids can be eligible to win different prizes. So Target has donated, Wegmans has donated, Words Youth Services has donated, Burn Dairy has donated, and also the Speedway had on Pi Day, which was March 14th. If you bought, you could buy a pizza for $3, I guess, and 14 cents.
Yeah.
And if you didn't want to get that pizza, you could donate it to the school, and the TRA gave it to students who were students of the month.
I love it.
Nice.
I heard people like bought 10 pizzas. or
Yeah.
something.
Why not?
Well, for that price.
Yeah. There you go.
And this is not the first award we've gotten from Utica, so we have good track record. there.
Very
Okay.
nice.
No old business. That brings us to our, budget presentation.
All right, so we are moving right along in budget season, April 15th, and as I mentioned earlier, we have 2 more meetings. In May coming up, where we will be discussing budget issues and then having the budget vote. So as we always, remind everybody, we are developing these budgets with a focus on education, making sure that we're building a sustainable budget and developing a reasonable tax levy within the applicable regulations. So as you I'm sure have heard, New York State does not have a finalized budget still, which is pretty tough when you're trying to develop a budget for a school that's based on the aid that we get from the state, which is yet to be determined budget. Some of the things that are tying up things in the discussions in Albany are education funding, which is there's a lot of back and forth. And we've discussed in previous meetings that the governor put out proposals that many school districts have been very upset about. And there's been a lot of lobbying, and a lot of districts actually in our area have really been hit hard by this. And just to say, not that it's easy for anybody, but if you're one of those districts and if many people's jobs are on the line, this is really tough for them to have a late budget and not know what's going to happen. Some of the other issues are housing. There's, people pushing to get some tenant protections and some affordable housing legislation passed. Also, healthcare proposed, or money in the budget anyway, and also healthcare and funding for Medicaid. So obviously, our biggest concern for our purposes in these meetings is the education budget, and the big things that are in contention and that impact schools are the removal of the safe harmless calculation. It sounds like maybe they may be coming to a place where they're going to push that off till next year. What seems to be happening is that the governor really wants to. You may remember that the foundation aid formula is the bulk of our aid funding. And last year we were fully funded. That was great. This year the governor is saying we need a new formula. And so she wanted to change some things in her proposal to that formula. But what she's saying is if I go along with what you're asking for this year, if this is really putting districts in a huge bind, then we need to come to agreement that that next year we're gonna redo the formula. So that looks like maybe the way things may go. So maybe there won't be the removal of the safe harmless calculation, but next year we would have a big reexamination of the foundation aid formula entirely. Also, the change in the inflation figure. Current law under the current formula is that the inflationary increase to the base amount per student is based on the average CPI change over the previous calendar year. This would be a 4.1% for the calendar year 2023, 2024-25 aid. It was 8% from the previous years for the aid year that we're in right now for 23-24. Proposed change is that the inflationary increase would be based on the average of the last 10 years, dropping the high and the low extremes. And that would mean, if that's what happens, that would mean a 2.4 increase for our 24-25 aid. So for Whitney Point, that's a $336, almost $337,000 decrease from what we thought we were going to get in the beginning. Also, what she proposed is the removal of the minimum increase in the formula. There was supposed to be a minimum increase that a district would always get, because districts who are dependent on aid, costs do not go down. So that's why there was the minimum increase. So a recap from the last budget, 24-25 our budget, we have a 9.5% increase, as we discussed at our last meeting in March. We reviewed the fact that there are lots of costs, there are lots of things that have gone up in cost, in expenses. We have a lot of human beings who work for this district. as I mentioned, things don't get less expensive. But we also have a big percentage of our budget, which is 5.03%, which is debt service, so having to do with our project. So when we pay, we have to budget for the fact that we have to pay that amount in debt service, but in reality, we get those funds back. Foundation aid, we think that what we're planning for at least is a 2.31% increase. And our tax cap limit is 2.95% increase. And so our proposed budget would include that amount. Some of the things that have changed since March, some of them are difficult. So for example, we had a $693,000 increase in BOCES expenditures having to do with special ed placements. $175,000 just for one issue with a one-to-one nurse. I mean, these things are very, very expensive, and you know, with changing population, it's hard to plan. And so even in a month's time, these things can change this dramatically. And those are the kinds of dollars that that we then have to incorporate into the budget. And then in our last meeting, we talked about the fact that we have had a cushion for the last few years because of the recovery funds that we've been able to access. And so those funds, we mostly paid for things that were temporary expenses to you know, address learning loss. But it also sort of gives you a cushion on some of the other things that you maybe don't have to spend money on that you normally would, because you're paying for it. Sort of, it's not like we're really supplanting what we would normally pay for, but it just gives you a bit of a cushion. So as a result, we've had some funds this year, and because we already have a project going on, we were actually planning to have this playground be redo to be part of our project initially. We can use some of those funds that we have from this year and use them to do the playground like we had planned to do. So that amount is in there. And even though $325,000 is a lot of money, doing it as part of the project while they're already there, already doing that work, is less than you would do if you were going to do it otherwise. And this will enable us to have a bigger playground because we have a growing population at the CEA with a wider span of developmental levels, so that they will have more equipment that's developmentally appropriate that they can use at the CEA. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you. I am seeing the districts that are needing to get rid of teachers. 45 teachers, because the district didn't use that COVID money in the right way. And you guys were amazing. You led us the right way. We approved it. And this is part of that. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, I mean, you know, everybody's trying, all districts are trying to do the best they can, but if you spend it on things that you know when you're gonna lose that money.
Yep.
It's a one-time pay, and you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
pay sustainable things with a
It's
one-time
hurting
pay.
some districts really bad right now.
And we had, can I just ask about the BOCES, that going forward though, that's still fundable? That
Aidable, I mean,
very, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, that.
yeah, I mean,
It still is a bigger hit this year, but then
Yeah,
some of it,
so both these expenditures, all non-special ed related, those expenditures are aidable. This is a very confusing part of
Right.
the terminology. The special ed expenses through BOCES are not BOCES aidable, but we get other forms of aid for high excess.
that
costs.
was my next question, because I know that all those forms had to be filled out, the federal, and had to be okayed and kept track of all the time, but that
Yeah.
also should. And that wasn't at the higher rate either, that was at a lower rate, that's still, I mean, would be, in theory, some of that would be coming back as well.
Correct, so basically, we were projecting around 693,000 more in expenditures next year. But yes, a portion of that will come back as some form of state aid.
But that's always 1 year out further than the expenditure.
so that's why, I mean, that's like in a number of these ways, like so you have to budget for it, and
Right.
it looks like holy cow, but in the end, then it drives aid coming back. Yeah.
Can you, I'm sorry, before I move on, Joanne,
Yep.
can you clarify the 175 again?
It's a one-to-one aid for a student.
So it's one nurse's salary for the year
Well, it doesn't
Or how
exactly
many, I
work
don't-
that way. It's a. I mean,
With
you
the
explain this.
benefits.
Yeah, so
Aid for student.
it's multiple contractual items, but a large chunk of that is a one-to-one nurse. It's not a school employee. It's basically, from the moment this kid gets on the bus, the nurse gets on the bus with them, that nurse is with them, the entire day. So we actually contract for that, but it's not, something that we're capable of, providing.
That's the best price we can get.
And we're very lucky to have somebody because in the end, it is, we've been in the situation before where we could not find anybody or even contract for anybody. And then we have a serious problem. So, yeah, I mean, but it's like an extraordinary need, like, so it's like every minute, all the time, every day.
And there's no aid we can get for that?
Well, again, that goes,
I'm sorry.
you got it.
So, yeah, just like Zach said in the other situation, so that therefore that student would be a high cost student, so then, yes, in the end, you would get funds back. And
Okay.
Here, we're gonna talk about like.
All right.
There's some slides here, we talk about.
This is
other-
where it gets a little confusing. So you're always putting it up front, but the next year you're recouping that money,
Right,
Some of it.
some of it.
Yeah,
We
But
don't
this
always
is-
know what the percentage is,
But
right?
this isn't as high as our BOCES reimbursement.
Right,
So this, the,
which is
right,
like-
the federal
Yeah.
is a lot less than.
So a high excess cost, so again, basically the BOCES expenditures that are rateable, we would get like 84% back on every dollar of that.
Okay,
For like high cost aid, the state sets a dollar amount per student. So any dollar over that set amount would then be aided.
got
So
it.
they're basically telling you like, for anything over $35,000 that you get this child, we will reimburse you this 8%.
Okay,
and, you know, it's, so nothing is simple, like, so that threshold changes every year.
okay,
And
yeah,
I mean, the formulas, I mean, it's really a very complicated thing, but yes, it's not just we pay that and it never gets that.
right. And our BOCES aidable has been somewhat consistent over the last few years, you said,
Yeah, it hovers right around 80.
80s.
That's
Okay,
where it's been.
Mhm.
And Molly, just again, that's 175,000 for other contractual items as well. The nurse is about 75,000, which is a lot, but I don't want you to think that whole amount was just for the.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, with those changes, it puts our percentage super high, but again, that is somewhat misleading. Because some of it is money that we're paying out and that we're getting right back, so it's, yes, the amount that we have to. Plan to outlay is increasing by 12.41%, and some of those are real, real realities of like things like our, health insurance increases and. Retirement system increases and salaries and things like that, that are within that amount, but there's also, as it's right there, it would be 7.99% without the debt service having to do with the project. So it's shocking to look at, but it's a very complicated, system of laying out money and then actually getting money back. So if you can see right here, like if you look at the amount of other state aid that we're getting, like foundation aid is one piece of it, but then we have a whole nother chunk of other funding that we will get back. And some of the things that we've just been talking about are those kinds of aids. Other revenue, do you want to speak to this a little bit, the
Yeah, sure. So again, it's hard to put dollars on that with this slide. There's a lot going on. But you can see that other state aid is really the reimbursement based aid. So you would pay for it up front, and then the following year we get that back. So again, a perfect world, you keep it similar and every year, you're kind of paying for what you did the previous year. But if you look at other state aid, it's up about $3 million. And again, that's directly related to how much in debt payments we're gonna be paying for the project. So we basically borrow the money, we're making those payments, but then the state's gonna be giving us that money back. So we look at it really as a wash. But again, what it does is it inflates your budget. So our expenditures are going up 3 million because of that. Although we are getting the corresponding revenue to match it. So again, the other state aid, it would be the debt service, it'd be the transportation aid, the BOCES aid, the high cost aid, categorical aid, things like that. The other revenue, and again, that's had a pretty drastic change in the last several years. But the main bulk of that is the rent, that we charge for our bus mechanics, near bus sales. Again, they operate in our garage, but that is a contract service we do with them. And they pay us rent to use our facility, for that work. It's around, 12,000 a month. So again, that's a big chunk. Other parts, other revenue are really things that aren't in state aid or again, part of the tax base. So, as far as pockets, we have, interest earnings are there, admissions for the games, which is small, but it still goes there. We have non-resident students, tuition, we charge, get that at whopping $81, I think, for grades K through 6 go there. So again, it's pretty much a catch-all for every other revenue source. So there's some Medicare, some Medicaid revenue in there. So that's what other revenue really is. And then if you look at our appropriated fund balance, and you can see, consistency wise, that's been a solid 500,000 for a long time. And that was, again, a board directive and something we're proud of to get it down to that. For comparison's sake, when, budgets were real tight during the gap elimination years, about 12 years ago, that appropriated fund balance, went higher to like 1.2 million. So in a time, again, where the budgets are uncertain, that is a typical place that you would see more appropriated, basically funding, from the district to kind of match and balance your budget. So knowing, again, the unknown that we're in right now, we are proposing to increase our appropriated fund balance from 500 to 750,000. So we're increasing that 250,000, which we feel is, again, long-term sustainable for us at this point. Because again, our budget has also grown about $10 million in that time. So it's not crazy, as far as, comparison wise, you look at appropriated as a percentage of your overall budget. But again, what we have to do a good job of explaining to the public and, newsletters and whatnot, it's gonna look like it's 1.075 million. And that's because that really has that 325,000 allocation of this year's savings that we're appropriating to be spent next year for the playground. Budget use of reserves, you can see, and this is something else too, when revenue is unknown, we have our rainy day funds there, they are healthy. Right now, we're building this budget with not knowing exactly where state aid is. We're planning on using our reserves to fund our ERS retirement bill and a portion of our TRS retirement bill. So what happens is, like, even tonight, if the budget gets passed or tomorrow and more revenue comes in, we will just plan on using less of those reserves to pay those bills. In perfect world, hope we don't have to pay any of it, those reserves, but that's kind of how we, at this point, have to balance the budget to move forward. And as you follow the tax levy, growth down below, again, something to be very proud of, I think, as a community board and school, we've kept that really reasonable for a long time. I think we know the perception of 2% tax cap. I tried to explain that a little bit, last meeting. But the 2.95 is within our limit. This is a year that we really need to get what we can get from it. We went through the slide of what happens if you leave money on the table. This hurts down the road. But again, this isn't abnormal for us to go above 2 in this 2% tax cap. You can see previous years, 2019, 20, 2021, we've gone over 2 before. And I think when you see the comparison, what districts are going out for in the region, it's going to be comparable.
Did we see that, Zach, the comps, did we?
Yeah, I have, well, again, you don't know exactly what district. the
Right.
thought on, but we had what the max
Their
levy
comp.
limits were. And there was a slide at the last presentation where they ranged from, I think, like 1 all the way up to 7.
That's right, okay.
And I had,
They had all the school districts in alphabetical order, right?
yeah, it was that presentation.
Okay.
There was a slide specifically on the
Yeah.
range. Yep,
All right, I'm thinking about, okay, so that's reasonable and fair,
yeah.
given the circumstances, okay.
And we do have the previous presentations on the website.
Yeah. So
And,
that's what will be going out to the public
Yep,
to present.
so that's basically what you guys would vote on now to approve. and
Yeah.
Move forward with. We finalize this, and then again, that's where we start to work on the newsletters and how do we get that perception out to the public of, don't be scared of this big 12% number, but that's us to explain why it is that, and hopefully, again, we get the support we need and move on.
When you do the explanation, I don't recall, do you use the pie chart?
Yeah, we,
Because that's helpful, I think.
I usually
Vi-
put it in the.
Visual is very helpful for people.
for the revenue sources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so they understand it, because I know some people that, may, if they don't come to these meetings, this gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
And if you're not real clear on where the money is or why it appears the perception is a lot higher than it really is, because they might not understand debt service.
Yeah,
Um,
that's our problem, like with the postcards that go out, it's gonna have that 12% number without any context. and
Right.
it's Not great. You know?
No, because if you look at it, I mean, again, if you compare it from 2017 up to 2025. I mean, literally last year, 2023-24, it was 6.65. So again, without context, that would scare me as an individual.
Yeah.
But knowing the context of it, it doesn't scare me at all because pretty much 8% of that is debt service,
Yeah.
which will be paid back to us. But if people don't know that, they don't understand it. So then, you know, again, it's pretty much, actually, it's less than it would have been for last year, once you get the 8% debt service for the following year.
If the governor makes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to explain it, but.
And that's what our concern is always, you know, we want people to come because we want to explain.
Right.
Where there's not confusion, but that's what we'll try to do with the newsletter, and anything that goes home.
Yeah,
And again, that's really our job to try to
yeah,
get that out there.
fair enough.
And that's what it looks like for the budget.
So that would be my concern to just, I know people look at numbers, they don't listen, they just look, I mean, as a group. And I think and I'm just a little concerned too, that if these other districts continue to burn, it's gonna be on the news and it's gonna be looking like we're part of that too. So, I mean, back when we were the only district that had that and everybody else was like, shh. I mean, that was bad, but now this is.
We're on the good side of the news.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, back when all that other stuff and we were losing positions everywhere, that I still get ulcers thinking about that. No, I seriously, I wasn't the one being like, oh, and that's a terrible thing.
It is.
But if it goes to the news always, I know what they used to do when they came here, it just
Spin it.
fell and make it worse and make it sound terrible and so that combined with is my only, I'm a little nervous.
Just make sure, it's hard, because you want to make sure people know what they're really voting for, or, right? So like Tom said, the numbers, just, if you look at the numbers as it sits with no context, it's confusing.
But as community members, that's something we can't tell people how to vote. We can give them.
We can educate them.
And that's the thing, that if the words are getting out into the community, that travels more than the postcard does. So
Absolutely.
if we can do what we need to do.
Yep.
So,
I'll do my best to let people know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's all context. I mean, our budget's going up about $5 million. We're asking the taxpayers to come up with, you know, around 250,000. So the other amount is from other sources.
Right.
You know, that's, I think, important.
Exactly, and that's what they need to see on that little pie chart.
Yep.
This might be a silly request. I mean, you've done an excellent job in explaining.
Thank
Because if I was just looking at this, I would be lost. Is there any way of putting that up like on our website, your explanation for each item, or is that feasible? Or, if somebody did want to read,
Yeah.
and understand it better.
Even if you did a voiceover of the slides and you explained what each section was,
And I don't
because
want to add to your work.
No.
And clearly people could have come to the meeting, but
Yeah.
if they need to be referred to something more detailed, then.
Yeah.
And
There's a way
sometimes-
we can put the zoom out.
well, maybe,
Yeah.
but the thing is that if
Yeah.
there's somebody doing a voiceover of it, explaining each step, it makes much more sense to a lot of people than just trying to sit there and read it. Even though you're saying the same thing, sometimes hearing it as opposed to seeing it makes a difference.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'll have to work with
absolutely.
Shannon, our tech guru over here.
Tell me
but
for
we can make it
that,
happen.
have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
I can do this one.
It might, but
Budgets with
just real quick. Yeah, if you just went down there and did like a 5-minute, literally, and then it was posted, we could tell people, hey, great news, it's out there, so you can really get a better understanding of what
If
this
you do it in
means.
2 minutes, they might actually watch.
Right, fair enough.
We'll put a QR code in a newsletter.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, I think that's a great
Oh,
idea.
Yeah.
That's a good
That is a
idea.
good idea.
Great minds think alike.
And just with a voiceover, you don't even have to be on camera.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the QR code idea.
Yeah.
And this,
No, it's a good
to
idea.
get a little more detail so you're educated when you vote.
Yeah.
Right, that's really what it's about,
Yeah.
making sure people understand. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you.
thank you, Zach.
So, yeah, so I pulled them into those good conversations. I also think that it's important to know that, like, you know, besides the debt service, I mean, there are tangible things that people are gonna get out of those dollars, like, you know, that they're gonna see. That, like, that, those costs are from the project, or this playground, which, you know, it really, without exaggeration, I mean, it increases people's property value by, you know, having a school district that has nice facilities.
Sure.
So, you know, all of those things I think are important for people to consider. Even though I know that number is still shocking to see. All right, so revenue projection, so same with all sources, you can see right here that, almost $3.5 million change. Other revenues, not so impressive. Appropriated fund balance, we talked about the change from year to year, is a pretty big jump, but we talked about the reasons for that. And the use of reserves also, but some of that is just because we don't know what's gonna happen, and that's a place where we can, again, that's like a rainy day fund, so we know if we get into a situation where we don't know what's gonna happen with the state, and we've got some other expenses that we can use those funds. And then the tax levy increase, if it's 2.95% increase from 24-25, that's the amount, 255,000, that it would actually be increased from local funds.
And just as a point of reference, if that was a 2.95% increase, say in Vestal, would be
Oh, yeah.
a whole lot more.
Yeah, substantially.
So 2.95% here is not the same as 2.95% in another school district.
Yeah, 1% gets us, how much now?
84?
86, okay. All right, so the 24-25 proposed budget, the current budget is $41 million. The proposed 24-25 budget is $46 million, 46.5. But as we discussed, there's a lot in there that are really expenses that we have to outlay that we will get back. Proposed spending increases is pretty sizable. Again, I think there are some tangible things that you can see that those funds will be spent on, and that we will be a chunk of that we will be getting back. So the proposed tax levy increase for this budget would be 2.95% increase, which would give us $255,000. And there it is, right? That little, I was just asking you the number. Which really, the 1% gets us $86,399. So accomplishing our budget goals, we started this presentation talking about our focus on education, making sure that we have a sustainable budget, to make sure that we have a reasonable tax levy. When we think about the things that we are trying to do, the real work that we're trying to do is to maintain as much as we possibly can enrichment opportunities, and continuing to provide the needed support that students need. As I said, we did have a number of things in place during these post-pandemic years using temporary funds, but we knew that was gonna happen, so we phased those out, but we're still making sure that we give kids the supports that they need. Supporting a variety of STEAM and career and technical programs, by leveraging grant funds, agency partnerships, and capital project renovations. We're really excited about the work that's on the third floor of the TRA. We're excited that hopefully we'll be able to hire an tech ag person to get our greenhouse going. And we are partnering with Cornell Farm Extension for a grant that we can get some, what are we getting? Growing in,
Farm to school.
yeah, farm to school. What are we getting in actual things? Are we getting growing to decide that?
Yeah, they're just growing towers and other.
In the classrooms, yeah.
But I can't remember.
With Sean.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
Hydroponics.
Yeah.
Joanne, do you think that when we do this, we're gonna actually hire somebody that's gonna?
So we have a
Okay.
position right now that's posted,
Okay.
that tech position that we've had open, you can at the middle school level make it an ag position.
Okay.
So we've actually had a number of candidates that are ag certified, so.
Great.
And it could be a nice feeder. We have that partnership with Marathon. So I'm hoping that we find somebody who wants to work here. we always continue to grow, our current partnerships and look for new ones, because as a small district, a rural district, it's hard to even describe all that our students get from the partnerships that we have for agencies, educational agencies, and other kinds of agencies. So we're very thankful for that. And continue to provide our students and communities with resources and facilities that are top-notch and innovate. Again, so when we're spending money, we're making sure that we're taking care of our facilities. That's a value to the community. And we continue to be responsible stewards of our facilities to make sure that they're taken care of, and all the updates that you're getting, you're seeing that they've mentioned, like, sort of offhandedly, little things that they're taking care of as they deal with the bigger projects issues, just making sure that we're keeping things in good shape. Again, because the district belongs, the facilities here belong to the community. And we continue our $100,000 capital outlay improvement projects to make sure that we're taking care of the little things that need to do, that don't take a whole huge project to take care of. And we are looking to have a 2.95 increase to the tax levy.
Thank you. Thanks, Joanne.
And that brings us to our next item, which is to approve the 2024 through 2025 school district budget in the sum of $46,499,802 with a 2.95% tax levy increase. May I have a motion?
So moved. Oh,
We got Tom and Tina. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the 2024 to 2025 property tax report card. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? And that brings us to the TRA presentation.
Hey, everyone.
Good evening.
We're really excited to share all the exciting things happening at the TRA this year. Just a little background on this photo. It was taken all the way back in September out of tragedy. As you all know, we lost one of our faculty members, Mr. Todd Wilson. And in memory of Todd, his favorite color was orange. So we thought, what better way to honor him than to take a school community photo out there. So it's really inspiring to see the school community come together and the resilience of all of our faculty, staff, and students. So here's a little roadmap of where we're going to go this evening. We're just going to review our district SMART goals, our TRA SMART goals, the professional learning community process at the TRA, a little bit about our guiding coalition, addressing student behaviors, our MTSS process, which we've been building this year, our SOAR committee, and some school year highlights, which there are many.
That photo is stunning.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. So here's our Whitney Point District SMART goals. Increasing our 3rd through 8th grade ELA New York State exam proficiency by 5 percentage points, math proficiency by 5 percentage points, to increase our district-wide graduation rate by 5 percentage points, and to decrease chronic absenteeism rates by 5 percentage points. So at the beginning of the year, we got together with our guiding coalition, and we were of course focused on all of these, but we decided to have a laser focus on the ELA and chronic absenteeism goals. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that. So to increase our 3rd through 8th grade ELA New York State exam proficiency percentage by at least 5 percentage points. And how are we accomplishing this? So we built in something called flex time for our 4th and 5th grade cohorts, targeting every standard and every student. So that's, every other day. Teachers get together with students and provide interventions and extensions. Basically, those skill gaps that students have, closing those gaps so students can master those essential standards that teaching teams came up with. So it's dedicated, basically a get what you need kind of block. So we use iReady and we're trying to use that more for instructional purposes for, there's a component called standards mastery that our 4th grade team is specifically using to check student understanding of standards. So reviewing that universal iReady screening data in October, January, and June, and using that data to drive instruction and target some of those interventions and extensions for all of our students. Of course, building in cross-curricular readings to build science and social studies knowledge. And extensive dedicated daily time in classrooms to support literacy growth. Every subject providing literacy opportunities for students. So our chronic absenteeism, we're looking to decrease that by at least 5 percentage points. And how are we doing that at the TRA? So every week, our PPS team, which consists of our school counselors, our school social worker, we have a DSS liaison, community school coordinator, Amanda and myself, we get together. We talk about students who are chronically absent. What have we done? Let's think outside the box. What can we do to try to get these students to come to school more often? So some of that involves building relationships and making personal connections with students and their families, offering support and outreach for families. And we do mail attendance letters at various increments of absences, 10, 15, and 20. And we have a nice infographic on the importance of regular school attendance that we provide to families. We're really trying to recognizing all those positive efforts by students by using incentives, fun activities. We built in a bi-monthly Eagle time that we'll get into more later. And we have fun events, pep rallies and such to get students together to build that positive school community. And our student of the month assemblies for 4th and 5th grade, those have been a big hit. We, as you can see, we had Rowdy the Rumble Pony at one of our most recent ones. So we always include a game for the student of the month candidates to play and recognize them with certificates and ice cream or like you heard earlier, breakfast pizza.
Very nice.
And of course, at the TRA, we're always trying to create that welcoming environment for students and families, which include murals, fresh paint on the walls, student work on the walls and ceilings and that kind of thing, just to create that positive environment where everyone feels welcome. We do have a mentoring program that we started this year called Eagles Lead, where upperclassmen go into elementary classrooms and help out the teacher and help out those younger students. So to build those bonds between our 4th and 5th graders and our upperclassmen. So that's been a hit. More and more of our upperclassmen want to be involved in that. So it's been a great initiative that we hope to build more on next year.
Can you just tell me what PPS stands for?
Pupil Personnel Services.
Thank you.
So we are a PLC here at Whitney Point, as you know, so we always focus on the 4 critical questions of PLCs to drive our instruction. What do our students need to know? How will we know when they know it? How will we respond when they don't know it? Providing those interventions. And how will we extend learning for our students who know it? So how are we answering these questions? We built in dedicated team meetings for grade levels to talk about students. PLC Tuesdays, our content areas get together every Tuesday and analyze data and talk about essential standards and next steps for students. And we're always analyzing student data to drive our instruction. So our guiding coalition, it's made up of department chairs, grade level chairs, administration. We get together twice a month. One meeting is strictly PLC focused. We'll do an activity around professional learning communities that those folks can bring back to their teams. The other, it's kind of morphed into a shared decision-making team where we have some other stakeholders involved, you know, one of our secretaries and some other folks at our school, and we just talk about students. And recently we came up with 3 focus areas, looking at the whole student, looking at our discipline policies and procedures, And, help me out with the third.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
I'll come back.
Okay. There is a third one, it's very important, and we'll let you know. So, we always strive to become PLC experts by learning about the PLC process together, finding that common vocabulary. Always looking at continuous improvement in which collaborative teacher teams participate. So the goal really is to become experts on the PLC processes, benefits for students, teachers, and the school community. And those folks that attend the Guiding Coalition meetings, they'll disseminate information about that PLC process to their collaborative teacher teams. And leading PLC transformation by example, really concentrating on 3 areas: improving student learning, focusing on results, and collaboration. So this is an infographic from School Tool that I thought was, worth putting on this presentation. It's our attendance data, comparing the 21-22 school year, the 22-23 school year, and the 23-24 school year. So that light blue line is this year. So as you'll see, the percent of students that are absent for less than 5% of the school year, you'll see we're at 49.5% this year. So we'd like to think that is about, based on our positive culture and just some things we've implemented this year. So I thought it was really, really neat to see the growth of our attendance. We're still working on those areas, other areas there. Those are definitely concerns with our 10% or more are chronically absent students. But like I said, we're talking about those daily, if not weekly, and trying to think outside the box to get those students to come to school on a regular basis.
And this was our third category. It was student behavior.
There it is.
We meant to do that. That was what that was.
Yes.
There you trust me with this? I
I don't know.
All right, I'm a little nervous, but we'll get
try.
it. So a community summit, out of that became like an idea that we really needed to increase discipline referrals in our building. So happy to report that March of last year versus March this year, we have 419 fewer referrals. So we're doing a lot of work. The teams are doing a lot of work to kind of combat that a little bit, and just, reteach some behaviors, right? We're all about education, so we have to educate them on what we're looking for. So recess changed for 4th and 5th grade this year. Instead of 100 students out, all at the same time with people who aren't necessarily familiar with them, the teachers actually took that over and they take them out with other classes, so they can supervise, mediate, and kind of help kids build those positive relationships. Cell phones were a big thing this year. We decided that Matt and I actually went into individual classrooms, 6th through 8th grade, told them why we're doing this and what we expected. So cell phones, book bags, they go in their locker, and they're not to be out until lunchtime. And so if a teacher or a staff member walks by and sees it, they put it in a chart and then they inform one of us, and one of us addresses that and lets them know. If they get up to 4, then it has to be in the main office. It's like in a little envelope. They're in charge of it. They put it in the envelope. They can get it at the end of the day. So teachers have reported that it's working. They're not seeing as many cell phones in the classroom. It's not as big of a problem this year, so that's good. Team meetings. Teachers get to, be together almost every day meeting. I'll give you an example. So the 7th grade team, we had an assembly that didn't go so well, right? So we had to do a little reteaching of what it means to be a good audience member. So the 7th grade team went down with a list of, out of the handbook and things of what a good audience member does, and they actually walked them through. This is how you sit down. This is how we enter the auditorium. This is what we do when a speaker's speaking. And then they shared it with the other teams. And the next assembly we had, Rev Theater told Mr. Sligo that was the best group that they had seen. So they made a big difference there. Counseling, there's a lot of peer mediation going on, teaching kids coping strategies, and just basically there for support whenever they need. Our community schools, if you see that picture in the top right, that's a lunch bunch. So 5th graders come up and they just want to come in and see what it's all about. So they were actually learning coping strategies, and they were using those little like fortune cookies that you use, so it's not only fun for them, but it's also teaching them something. And then they have Eagle Zone too, so kids during study hall can go. Kristen Galusha runs that, and she has BU interns,
So if kids during study hall want to come up and, do some homework or just chat, they have, access to those people on Tuesdays and Thursdays in our building. The social studies department took on, some of our anti-bullying curriculum. They did a really cool thing with the power of your words. So kids, they took a survey of kids in their grade level, and they came up with some things that, they're hearing that is, not nice, not kind. And then talked about that and kind of push that out to home bases. So they kind of help them so they could build some community and do some things around that. And then on the bottom there is the D5 group. They came in and spoke with our kids. So Sam and Amara Davis and their children come in and speak to kids about the power of their words and how they can have a big impact and kind of using words for good instead of, being unkind to others. So they took that on and it's been really great. Also there's the education piece. So anti-vaping, Sydney Graham comes in. If a parent indicates to us that, they think somebody is vaping, or maybe we identify somebody, he'll come in and he'll do some, like just some counseling with them. They do a little project and kind of talk about the dangers of vaping, kind of how to get out of addiction. Also, those two were so great. So, computer services, Brian Angelo took on some kids to just teach them like, hey, a lot of kids are not being so kind to their Chromebooks. Here's what goes into fixing them. And now he has even student volunteers. So those are a couple of volunteers that didn't mind taking a picture. So they weren't in trouble. They're just helping out. Like they go on their lunch to help out. And then those restorative practices. So if you break it, you fix it kind of thing, you make a mess in the cafeteria, you're cleaning up. And Carol Crane is great. She'll, bring over the broom and say, hey, just clean that up. So just kind of focusing on, we have the other consequences too, but kind of educating them to make it a more positive place too. MTSS. So you heard a lot with Erin, but Beth Wolfer was a retired teacher, and she came back to help us build the ship at the TRA. So these are interventions, and so a teacher or a parent will say, my kid's really struggling in this area, and a team will get together, and Beth's kind of helping us form those, and they'll come up with interventions with this whole team of interventionists, teachers, and kind of see how can we help this kid meet these goals. Or here's a gap, and what can we do to help support this kid so that he can or she can get what they need.
Great. Is she doing that with the community schools too, or not?
No.
No, she doesn't.
That is part of our.
It's part of the. She's not retired. She's just.
She is retired.
She
came back.
Oh,
She came back to help us.
Very nice.
Do great things,
Future.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Yep.
excellent.
Nobody ever wants to really leave.
I love that.
And so the SOAR committee, it's one of our favorite things. It's just so fun, because it's all the positive things that you get to do in school. So this is what we're trying to do for incentive wise to make kids want to be here. And Matt had touched on a little bit before too. So attendance Olympics, Kristen Galusha is helping us get all those. She not only does the raffles at lunchtime, but she's also helping us get communities, people like Hoostrousse and stuff to donate some awesome things for that. I'll show you on the next slide some prizes they won. So I calculated it as 794 fewer absences than this time last year. Just a different way of looking at it.
Love it.
We also have the Student of the Month and Character Assemblies for 4th and 5th grade, and that's really growing and becoming a lot of fun. Dominic DiMperio MCs it for us because he just has a big personality and he's great at it. So it has a little education piece, like if the word of the month that you have to show is respect, there's a little bit of education that goes into that, but also a little bit of spirit games. There's fun. And then it was actually, I think Courtney Guyton brought it up, of winning a golden class award. So a class can win like the golden book, okay? And that's like the class that did the best in the library, or the golden dustpan. John Burnett said, hey, these guys keep their classroom so neat and tidy. So 4th and 5th grade both get it. So there's like 6 opportunities. So if you see down at DiMperio actually did a house cup race. So now the classes are kind of competing against each other. And the fun thing is that, I mean, you could win 4 in 1 month, so it's really anybody's, game, and they just
Amanda,
love it.
where is this posted? Do the kids see it all the time? So it's,
Yeah, so it's funny, cause I walked up and the teachers have like the certificates posted outside their door, we show that on the assemblies, like we'll put it up on the PowerPoint.
oh,
that
on
we
the
show
screen,
them,
okay, so
And
they,
it kind of does it in live time.
nice.
Yeah,
So
so
they can see where they're at and what they need to do to keep going.
Healthy
Yep.
competition.
That's
Yep.
great, love it.
And then 6th through 8th got a lot more fun too. I'll show you on the next slide, but they love that breakfast pizza. Those guys said it was great. They've had like hot cocoa, and I think they, they bring their little cups around and they're chatting, and then they got their donuts and stuff. So just trying to make that a little more fun. And then an idea that came out of a couple of sessions ago was the best day ever. So kids don't know when the best day ever is gonna happen, so you have to attend. It's gonna be a day full of fun, so you're supposed to like keep it secret, but kind of try to amp it up, so kids be here for that. So we're working on that.
I love it.
Did we get a new cocoa cooker?
Still got the same one.
Oh, my God. Zach, can we give them somebody?
Where's that?
We need to, if we need to donate it, we will.
Yeah.
Tell us how much, we need to keep this going, this is good stuff.
That poor thing's like.
It still makes
That
noise.
sounded a bit silly.
And we had some student helpers, they were so nice and they helped us with the cocoa, but it was everywhere. They're helping, it's good. So those are just some pictures. There's the 6th graders, standing with their certificates, and then they're sitting around drinking their hot cocoa. Matt had invited Ruby and Rowdy from the Rumble Ponies. The kids love that, and you can see the spirit game where they wrapped them in toilet paper there.
Love it.
Top is the latest spirit assembly where they're trying to like push their friend across the line and get there first. And then at the bottom is some of the winners of our last attendance Olympics. For quarter 2. All right, I'm gonna pass it back over to you.
Yeah. So just a few more pictures from our school year. We've got on the right-hand side, that was one of our pep rallies, where 6th, 7th, and 8th graders got together. And, Julie Brocious and Sam Driscoll came up with some really creative games and did a lot of camaraderie, a lot of healthy competition there. Couple Eagle Time pictures. Teachers pick a fun activity that they think students would like, and we have a whole sign-up process. Again, thank you to her and Amy Alston for kind of spearheading this Eagle Time initiative. As you can see, the kids love it. I think that was Mr. Johnson that did the ATVs, so there's a lot of creative activities that students get to sign up for and just take a break from their regular routine.
And that's under Eagle Time?
Yeah,
And when did Eagle Time start?
that was this year.
Yeah.
So
I think
we're
I heard you say that.
hoping to build on that for next
For
year.
several years now, and so it's expanded.
Nice.
Yeah. Couple more pictures. As you can see, we really get into our spirit weeks. Also, as Joanne was alluding to, the Echoes workshop, they did a wonderful assembly. It was just phenomenal. And those are our 3 young ladies who got chosen. Their writing they did a skit based on the girls' writing, so that was wonderful. Our 4th and 5th graders went to a BU women's basketball game, so just supporting our community. So a lot of great things here.
Well, I really love the Christmas outfit.
Yeah.
I'm looking pretty close and I'm
Officer
loving
Kelly
that.
has ornaments.
Officer
Kelly,
Kelly.
that's the
I'm,
beard.
Yeah.
I'm really digging
He's
the
got
beard.
beard mint
Yes,
there.
I'm loving
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
One video.
So we could stand here all night and tell you how wonderful the TRA is, but we thought that the students should have a voice too. So this is something that Julie Brocious edited the video. Amanda interviewed some of the students, so we hope you enjoy this video.
Don't think about it, just move your body. Listen to the music, sing oh, just move those left feet. Go ahead and play it. Anyone can do it, sing oh, show them what you got that fire. I don't know about you, but I feel better when I'm praising. Yeah, yeah. Better when I'm praising. Yeah, yeah. But we can go together. Together when you praising. Yeah, when you finally let go, say that out loud. To listen to what I know, sing it oh, cause you're confident in that. Yeah, I'm like you, it's right.
Why do you like the TRA? I like it because it's where I met all of my best friends. It's great because all the teachers here are so kind. But I like most about TRA is the after school activities like that. What I love about TRA is making new friends and learning about subjects. I like history and really I like most of TRA is how it goes kind of bring like sports players together. There's one thing I like about the TRA is that you can make a lot of friends.
The thing I like most about the TRA is the school because a lot of the people are nice and that's where I met all of my friends. I love the staff, I love my best friends, and I just like the community here. The playground. The teachers are nice.
Most about the TRA is teachers.
Right.
What I like about the TRA is that I get to hang out with my friends.
Friends, the teachers that support us.
I like the teachers and the rock wall on the gym.
Friends and the teachers. No, my friends.
The thing I most like about the TRA is all the sports opportunities.
One thing I like about the TRA is the teachers are super nice and the lunch is also like really good. One thing that I like about Whitney Point School is the teachers are super helpful when you ask them a question and you get to socialize with your friends.
The thing I like most about the TRA is opportunities.
Music, recess and the teachers.
The lunch is not like any other school. It's actually Jesus.
You want friends, we love our besties.
Yeah.
And the teachers are really kind here.
These kids
Yeah.
are great.
Yeah, people are just great. Recess, the teachers being able to learn.
Oh, I love that. That was great. I heard friends, teachers, and sports mostly, and the lunch.
And the lunch.
Who knows on the lunch? I know, that was awesome. Well, you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. Where can we send donations? I'd like to donate some gift cards towards your program. Just send them down your way.
Yeah.
All right. Or do you do like $5, $10? What do you guys try to do?
Whatever,
Whatever you have.
Take whatever.
Okay, very nice. I would be happy to donate
you.
some.
you.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. Nice job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
That was really good to
Thank you very
hear.
much.
All right, thank you.
I'm loving all the
I didn't
positive.
see any singing or music by the principal though,
That was really good.
but he did dress up at Christmas. That
That
was
makes
pretty
me
cool
smile
outfit.
to hear that.
Not as good
Really
as
good.
Officer Kelly's with the beer baubles, but.
So it makes me smile to hear that.
Okay, we're now moving to the consent agenda. May I have a motion? So moved. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Retirement resignations. We're going to do each one individually.
Stephanie Abrahamson, elementary teacher, effective June 30th, 2024. May I have a motion? So moved. Exactly.
Second.
Thank you, Tiana.
You know, every person, it's hard. Stephanie, interestingly, she's probably gotten more years of service than wrong through the years.
Yeah.
Because every time I think I've handed them to her like numerous times, just laughing because I knew it was always wrong, because Stephanie came here, she was here from 1992 to 1999. Although she took a year leave of absence within that, to have a child, and then came back, and then she resigned to stay home, be a stay-at-home mom. And then she came back again, in 2009 to the present, so she had all these things, so we always had her years wrong, but, you know, through those years, she's, done lots of great work with, all of our students. She's been a department chair, for many of the years that she was here. And, you know, she's gonna be greatly missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Cheryl Donnelly, elementary teacher, effective June 30th, 2024. Please move us.
So Cheryl, joined us officially in 2001, although I think before that you did some subbing in various places.
Yeah,
Even in the middle school, I think.
for the most part,
Yeah.
because middle school was the hardest experience to sub in, and I don't know, I was a sucker for let me do it, yeah, I guess. Had a whole bunch of people down there that were great supports too, so.
So Cheryl has spent, though, the bulk of her time in fourth grade, and she's been a department chair for years and years and years. And a great leader and a great teacher, and we're gonna miss her very much.
Yes, thank you for all your years of service.
Absolutely.
I know that my Sam loves you.
My student teachers have appreciated everything you've done for them, Sharon. That's awesome.
I neglected to do a motion and a.
I was wondering if he's gonna do that.
So can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry about that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Oh, I didn't get in on the comments, so I had some personal contacts as well that were very pleased, so thank you.
Can I not speak right now? or-
You can.
Oh, I can?
Yeah, sure.
Because I kind of talked back and forth, but, so I might as well just say something to you, because I did, like, just do a little, I wanted to just tell you, the board members and everything, I thank you too for your interest in and your dedication to education, educating our students and all. And I did say, because I looked at the board members, picture of you all, and I was like, man, I had so many of your kids here too. So I did, I went through and I said, all right, I've got Tom, I had Molly. Eric's not here, but I had Devin. Molly, I had Sam. Christine, I had your grandson Damien. Stephanie, you've been in my room and we've tie-dyed t-shirts and everything. By the way, I still have. And I come and see you, and I need to come see you real, and get our library trip scheduled in for this year.
Absolutely.
So that's been a highlight of fourth grade for many, many years. We absolutely love doing that and coming over to see you. And thank you for all that you do with all of that. Tiana.
I don't have any kids.
I know, but you know what? You have been such a great cheerleader at so many games and everything, sports games for the kids and stuff over the years. So you are amazing and a great
Thank you.
advocate. Whitney Point.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking the other day too, you know, I went to school here, so that's why I couldn't not come here and retire and just not see you guys or say anything. Because I graduated from Whitney Point here. I've lived here all my life with the exception of like going away to college for a short period of time. So I realized the other day though, that I started kindergarten here in the fall of 1974. So that was almost 50 years ago. So I have been in and out of Whitney Point in here in Whitney Point in some capacity in the school building for almost 50 years. And it's been kind of hard for me not to like be coming here every day because this is my home away from home, really. But I just wanted to tell the board that I appreciate not only the education that I got here and all my years, you know, back when I was going to school here. I think it's a great school. I'm dedicated to it. I want to see, you know, Whitney Point succeed in everything they do. My own children went to school here. They've got great careers now and everything. And, you know, it all started here in Whitney Point. So the work that you're doing here, I really appreciate that as a district. Like Joanne said, even just everything that we're doing here, the projects that we're doing, we want to have a good district because those of us that live in the district, it does increase the value of our homes. And at some point I am going to be selling my home. So I want a really good school district here. So yeah, there's so many things. And I think getting the word out, like Tiana was saying, getting the word out to our district about our budgets and everything, and that the increase in taxes and what it really means and all of that is important because we had that, like I went through that back in, you know, Tom, you said it was giving you ulcers, like thinking about 2003 was like a horrible, horrible year. So I was in a group of 12 elementary teachers that year who was told, you absolutely will not have a job here next year. And so that was amazing that we did. The majority of us did that year. That was absolutely amazing. And what went on in this community and the increase that we got in anyway. So I don't want to take up time because that's, am I over 3 minutes? I went with just a little.
You have like, oh,
just
you have
say a couple things
But you know,
and,
none of us are stopping you.
no. So and you know, after that TRA presentation and all, you probably are really thinking, why is she retiring? I even said, wait a minute, what? Because I got like, it's been an amazing career here. I absolutely love it. It is time for me. I do have to move on and I'm gonna be like working with my husband full time in our business. And I do have a grandbaby down south and everything now. And so I need a little more flexibility in my time, but I have absolutely loved this. And I might possibly think about coming back and subbing in the winter if if we're really slow and I'm down here and I don't know.
We're gonna jot that down, Cheryl.
TRA is an amazing place to work.
Well, thank you. Great. Thank you, Cheryl. Best of luck to you. That was great. I did something. Anna Marie Holt, School Guidance Counselor, effective June 30th, 2024. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly.
So, Anna has been here since 1997. I hate to like, I remember and all these people are. She was the CEA counselor for a number of years, and then she moved to the TRA, I think about the time maybe that I was leaving there. She too has contributed, you know, tremendously through the years and helped so many students. And she has served as department chair for the last few years also. So she will be missed, yes. She said, I hear she's saying taking a gap year. It's like, well, that's interesting. Backpacking across Europe. Very nice. Anything from board members?
No, best of luck. Enjoy.
All those that approve.
Aye.
Any opposed? Whatever. Any abstain? David Horton, Social Studies Teacher, effective June 30th, 2024. May I have a motion? So thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana.
Steve started in 1985, and he was at the TRA for a number of years, and then to the high school. He has coached for years in the district also, and has influenced lots of people. He acts like he's got a gruff exterior, but he's a very, very, very caring man. And has really strong relationships with students and has many times gone the extra mile for students. So he too will be missed.
Would you like me to read this letter? Yeah. Okay. To Whitney Point Board of Education. Thank you for the opportunity to teach in this district for almost 30 years. I have been fortunate to be in an enjoyable career that allowed me to make a difference to many people. The connections made over 30 years of teaching and coaching will always be meaningful to me, and I hope to many people in the community. I have held students to a high standard, and over the years have seen that they learn to enjoy that challenge. When they have completed a course, they do so with well-earned satisfaction. I would like to thank my many colleagues over the years who made me a better teacher and person. I must also thank the several thousand students whom I worked with in the classroom and on the sports fields over 30 years. The students I taught over the years challenged me to become a better teacher, and I enjoyed that challenge. I began teaching because I love history. I thrived as a teacher because I love students. The greatest satisfaction that I have had, and all teachers would second this, is to see students succeed in school and in life. Again, thank you, David Horton.
Very nice.
Anything from the board?
No, all the best.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Kirsty Minor, Intermediate Literacy Coordinator, effective June 30th, 2024. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Tom.
So Christy, literacy coordinator, but she wasn't always. So when she started in 1984, she was a special ed teacher, which I remember very well. She did that for a few years, and then she switched and she became an elementary ed teacher, fourth grade teacher. Until she and our former superintendent discussed other possibilities, and she became literacy coordinator, which she has done now for many years and done an excellent job. She's brought tremendous opportunities for our students. We are going to have family literacy night soon. She's nurtured a love of literature and writing with so many students for so many years. She's great.
Absolutely.
I may not be as eloquent as Cheryl just was.
Oh.
We did have comments about 2 hours ago. All right, but I would like to just say thank you. I feel like it's the right thing to be here tonight after a 30-year career. Just to express appreciation to the district for supporting and encouraging me personally for just the growth opportunities. I started out, as Joanne said, as a special education teacher. And I remember my first year, I had 5 kids in one row, and it just grew from there. And I said to myself, I wanted to be more, to affect more kids' lives. So there was an opportunity when Stephanie Abrahamson was out on one of her maternity leaves, and I was able to then become a fourth grade teacher at that point. So I taught fourth grade for 11 years and just had the best of both worlds. I was able to have students that had some disabilities along with just the general population, and a fabulous experience, one that I'll never forget. And I'm also very appreciative for all the opportunities for just the literacy related programs, special events, projects, anything that I had this idea for, I would propose it. And funding, I know funds were tight at times, but somehow funds were always available. And it really impacted the kids' lives, it impacted teachers' lives, just to have people come in from the outside, authors, illustrators, people that they were reading books by, and just to have those experiences, it was pretty remarkable. I'm looking forward to a strong finish to the school year. A few more special programs and projects to go, author visit, family literacy night. We have a fabulous writing club we're starting tomorrow. And I just wish our faculty, staff, and students all the best. So thank you for 30 really fabulous years.
Thank you. Are you guys sure you want to retire?
Yeah.
I'm retiring too. Not from the board, but from the work.
My husband's retiring, I'm definitely not retiring. Anything from the board?
No, just thank you very much.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Erin Truesdell, art teacher, effective June 30th, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Second. Thank you, Chris.
No, Aaron, this is start year. I remember that very well too. He started in 1995. It's a big year for people starting. Aaron has been in the TRA for all of that time, although he did do a short-term coverage in another building. Aaron is, again, is a personality and a half, and has been fun and nurture a love of art in so many children for so many years. I myself got to work across the hall from him in many places in the building, even when we reworked it, and somehow I ended up across the hall from him again. Yeah, he's done great work in our district, and we're very thankful and wish him much happiness, and we'll miss him.
One of my most memorable things is Charlotte coming home and telling me that Mr. Truesdale's grandmother wrestled a bear. And that was the first of many stories that he would tell the kids, and they would totally believe him because he was so believable. And watching him create art was always incredible. I can do well when I'm sewing. Any other art form and forget it.
I just want to mention that, I know all of my children had, Mr. Truesdale, and, I always look forward to going to open house to spend some time with that very interesting personality and very wry humor. I really enjoyed Mr. Truesdale, and I know my family all did as well, so really appreciate all he's done.
For kids too. Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Next up is approve the agreement between the Whitney Point Central School District and Erin Truesdell dated March 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second? Second. Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Chris, at this point, I am turning the meeting over to you. You are? I am. This is news to me. Was there something you need me to stay for?
No, I just need to have this, the date, the sheet.
Any help? Are we gonna inform? Yeah, yeah, for it. Okay, I guess. Good. I'm gonna close out my computer, baby. Continue. Then Mr. Stacy. We're going on to, these, no, 10-year appointments. Okay. There we go. Nope, that's fine. So, be resolved upon recommendation of superintendent that is that the first one? Yeah. That the Board of Education of Whitney Point Central School District approved the appointment of Rebecca Dupree, full-time teacher's aide effective April 16th, 2024. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Molly, what's your last name? Any comments?
This position, was left vacant by Tiffany Conlon.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstained or nay?
No.
We're good, whatever, we're all together, okay. I'll get in the rhythm here. Be resolved upon recommendation of Superintendent of the Board of Education of Whitney Point Central School District approve a 4-year probationary appointment for Casey Easton, elementary teacher in the elementary teacher tenure area effective April 16th, 2024.
Can you plus?
Yep.
Effective September 1st, 2024.
Okay, so we're changing the April 16th to September. Okay.
And then June. So the next line would be June. Oh, August 31st.
So April 16th and the probationary period needs to be August 31st. Okay, to April 15th, 2018, is that correct? 28, sorry. Okay. So corrections to this would be the elementary teacher tenure effective September 1st, 2024. With the probationary period August 31st, 2024 through April 15th, 2028, and is tentative and conditional only, except to the extent required by the applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law in order to be granted tenure, and the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuit of educational law section 3012-D of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years, and if the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I got Tom.
This position and the next position are for the new 2 pre-K classrooms that are gonna be up here.
Perfect.
Okay. Do we have any of the teachers here? I see. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Be it resolved. Now, do I need to change the dates for this one too?
Yeah, okay, and the same.
September 1st. And this is gonna be August.
It should be September 1st through August 31st.
Sorry. Probationary period, September 1st through August 2028.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent of the Board of Education of Whitney Point Central School District to approve a 4-year probationary appointment for Jennifer Mann, elementary teacher, the elementary teacher tenure area effective September 1st, 2024. The probationary period of August 31st, 2024 through April 15th, 2028 is tentative and conditional only, except to extent required by applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law. In order to be granted tenure, the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuit of educational law, section 3012-D of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years. And if the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm just gonna, so everybody is clear, it's September 1st, 2024 to August 31st, 2028.
Okay, September 1st, 2024 to August 31st,
2028.
amen. The probationary period is of August 31st.
No. September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2028.
Okay, so the top one also wants to be changed too. Do we need to do anything with it, or can you just write it in?
You see that?
No, we didn't.
You can ask the people that, made the motion.
Yeah,
if they would.
so if we made the motion for the above one, can we correct the date without any problem?
Yes, it could be
Yes.
September 1st,
Okay,
2024.
you're right to
Yes.
correct me? You can scratch here, Steve, and sort about that. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent of the Board of Education of Whitney Point Central School District approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Ashton Zero, a school counselor effective, I have April 29th. Is that what we have? April 29th, 2024. All in favor, or
So moved.
no,
Oh, second.
first motion? Tom,
Yep.
second,
Tiana.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'll just turn the page now, 10-year appointments. I guess I did the guy early. Sorry, work. Okay. April 15th, let me see, be it resolved upon the recommendation of superintendent of schools that the Board of Education Windy Point Central School District approve the 10-year recommendations for. We want to do one at a time, yep. Gracie Schwager. Do you want to have a motion? Tom,
Second.
second. Okay, do you need to say anything? Go ahead.
I can just review, I mean, we the last meeting, Gracie is, done all sorts of things in her time here. She has been, a pre-K teacher, and then she was a math interventionist, then she was a literacy interventionist, and she's gonna be a math interventionist again. So, she is, good at everything she does, and we're happy she's working with us.
And she's not here,
I know she just had a baby.
that's right, we did. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay, approved. Nicholas Bacon, Bashan, okay, Nicholas Bashan, physical education effective September 1st, 2024.
So
Have a motion? Second,
second.
And so Nick, is wonderful but he has not moved around like Gracie. He's been in the high school since he started and he's done a great job and he also coaches.
all in favor?
Aye.
Same, rejected, approved. Alicia Cook, science teacher, effective September 1st, 2024. Motion, Tom? Second? Second. Okay,
Alicia also has moved. She was at the TRA at first, as a science teacher, and she moved over to the high school. She, and just like Gracie, she just recently had a baby also. So, we have a theme going here. And Alicia is, an excellent teacher, but she also goes way above and beyond, and she's, was the force behind the faculty basketball games. She gets all sorts of initiatives going. She does a great job.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
Reduction, same, approved. Ashley Driscoll, elementary teacher, effective September 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second.
Ashley Driscoll also has been back and forth. She's in TRA and she has been teaching now at the CEA. She's a wonderful, wonderful teacher. She has had a baby during this time too, but not this year.
Yeah. Any other comments?
No, welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, abstained? Approved. Welcome, all of our
They're all
new
wonderful tenured
teachers.
teachers.
Yes.
Our new tenured teachers.
Exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, be it resolved. Now, if I have to switch any place, you better tell me, Stacy, okay? Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of Whitney Point Central School District approve the Broome Tioga Board of Cooperative Educational Services Administrative Budget in the amount of $3,816,573. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
questions or comments?
Why we have a meeting on Monday night. So we can improve this.
Yes, I do know this. I was like, I'm flying to Arizona tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss a port. No, I'm not just kidding. No, it's Monday night. Okay, I am not. I think I have to do a motion here, but it's not here, is it?
No, we have to vote on it first.
Okay, so we have to. There it is. I was like trying to find it. I was like, where is it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Any abstains? Good, approved. Okay, let's see, there are 2 3-year position board seats with the term ending June 30th, 2027, which will be filled by a vote of the component districts. The following candidates have been nominated for the officer of trustee at the Broome Title Board of Cooperative Educational Services. Nominee David Hawley and nominee Linda Gertz. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of Winnie Point Central School District approve a motion to be made to cast votes for the Broome Title Board Cooperative Educational Services as follow. First nominee,
I nominate David Hawley.
David Hawley moves the following name to be included in the ballot, seconded by,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
They are abstained. Second nomination. I'll nominate Linda Gertz. I know she wasn't on the ballot when we first did it, but she is a Tioga resident. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any nay or abstains? Approved. Okay. The Winnie Point School, let me see, the Winnie Point School District Board of Education cast a vote for the Broome Title Board of Cooperative Educational Service Board of candidates as identified above. There's a motion?
So moved. Oh,
We got Molly and Tiana. Second, all in favor?
aye.
Nay, abstained, approved. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Winnie Point Central School District participate in cooperative bidding for the following bids with our school districts in New York State. Can we read all these? Can you guys read?
Yeah,
Yeah, we read it.
we read it.
Grocery, paper products, meat and cheese and dairy, processing of U.S. state commodities, milk products, ice cream and other frozen desserts, bread products, smallwares, geographical preferences for fruit, vegetable, breakfast bag meals, vending drinks, produce, individually wrapped fresh fruit and vegetables. And be it further resolved that Ann Hoddick, is that? Hudick? Senior Director of Food Services, Broome Title BOCES, or designee be designated to receive and open said bids. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education of Winnie Point Central School District reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Molly? Any comments or conversation from anybody?
Zach, you have any comments?
No. Okay, it's normal stuff. Okay,
Normal stuff.
all in favor?
Aye.
Nay, abstained, approved. BOCES resolution. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education of Winnie Point Central School District will participate in the attached services during the 2024-2025 school year to the extent indicated. The Board of Education agrees to pay Broome Tioga BOCES the charges identified on the base contract according to the schedule as determined by Broome Tioga BOCES. Also, be it resolved that the payments on supplemental contracts be implemented by the district in accordance with the Broome Tioga BOCES requirements. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Tiana? And a second?
Second.
Tom? Any comments or? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay, abstained, approved. Okay. So now we go to superintendent's updates.
Just a couple of updates for you. Shannon and I met with, representative from the Clee Foundation and the Kresge Foundation. And they wanted to let you know that they are interested in partnering with us and sponsoring the purchase of an app, which helps schools have an easy way to work with kids, because it's sort of something you can put up on the screen, and it takes a few minutes in the morning to help kids build focus and by using mindfulness, just calming and quiet and focus in the morning. They got interested in this because they looked at research around the country where, you know, kids, particularly in this age of lots of, you know, phone abuse and digital, that having a hard time quieting their minds and focusing. They would like to be able to purchase this for us, and other districts, to use with our students. It's user friendly, families can have it also. Faculty and staff can use it also, just to kind of, you know, help them calm and focus in the morning, as they get their day started, or during the day, if they just need to like wind down and calm. They just would like to know if the board was in favor of letting them sponsor that for us.
Has anybody looked into it or what it is or?
Yeah, it's a super, I mean, there are other ones. I think one was called Calm.
So it's an app that you would put on your phone,
Yeah, and it's,
or it could be on a
it
computer.
could be on the computer, bring it up. And like it's just a calming sound, and like there are, you know, schools who do this in the morning, and just like, so kids come in. They sit down at their desk and they just like have this quiet moment when they close their eyes, you know, and, you know, think about just something that's a calming thought for them, because we wish we know. You know, kids are just running, and they're running from one thing to another, and they don't, you know, have a very long attention span. So,
So is it a free app
no, there's a subscription cost, and that's what they would pay.
and they're paying it and they're gonna like try it out with our students? Is that what they're gonna do?
This foundation.
The two foundations are willing to purchase this for us and other districts. They're talking to a number of districts. And I think it's a $10,000 subscription fee for like, for our whole district, so it'd be all of our schools. And,
What's the catch?
nothing,
There's always a catch. I'm waiting for it, like, hey, try it out, you're gonna
It's-
love it, and then after a year, you have to pay 10 grand.
well, yes, so but they're not gonna do it forever.
Right.
Yes.
But they wanna test it out to see if it's something that might be useful
Right, and
for the
then,
school district.
you know, I
Actually, it
mean-
makes sense, though.
And then eventually, I mean, I may not take an app to be able
Yeah.
to just have like a quiet moment where we all just say,
Right.
you know, what, we're gonna start our day with just taking a moment and quieting our minds before we get into learning.
So it'd just be offered to the teachers and they would decide whether or not they
Right.
want to use it. Okay.
But I think there are some teachers that already do that.
Yeah,
They use
they
some
do.
apps and they
Yeah.
use some stuff that.
Yes.
Yeah, my app, my watch always tells me in the morning.
Yes.
Time to take a mindful moment. And
I
I'm
would like to
okay,
take
I
a
gotta
mindful
go.
moment. I think it's a great idea. I love it.
Okay,
I'm definitely for it. I think it's
okay,
a
thank
good idea.
Yeah, and
And-
these foundations do stuff in the community all the
Yeah,
time.
it's
you. And they're
Yes,
focused,
and-
one of the priorities is
Yes,
education,
Right.
obviously. It's
Yes.
education. And then just as a piece of information for you, there's lots of exciting, events on the calendar coming up. If you want to look at that and see things that you might want to attend now that it's so nice out. But to let you know that if we have I hate to even say this because I'll jinx it. But if we have no emergency closures, from here on out. And you would think that we'd be safe, but that's not necessarily true. We certainly have had April, late April did. But, the last day for students, who are in the CEA and the TRA will be Tuesday, June 18th. We have a holiday it's called Juneteenth, the day after that. So students would be in attendance those days, K through 8, and then high school students would go through the 13th, and then they start Regents exams after that. Although there was also a Regents exam earlier in the year, but that's during regular school time. Graduation it's an odd way that the school year finishes up this year. It happens once in a while where the faculty ends on the 26th, which is a Wednesday. And then graduation is on the 28th, so everybody comes back.
let's hope so, because people could use the extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have some mindfulness.
That's right.
Right, that's it for me. Okay, it is our second opportunity for comments from the public. If anyone would like to make, comments, please remember the statement that Stephanie read earlier. And we'd love to have you come forward, give us your name and what you would like to speak to us about, and give us about 3 minutes of your time. Okay, I think I paraphrased that well.
You did good.
Okay. So now it's adjournment, right? And then we're going to executive session?
We are.
Yes.
But this board.
Okay, any Board of Education comments first?
Sally, do you have any comments? I just want to thank all the teachers that have been just wonderful, and there's just really not any words for all of your work and dedication, and you made such a difference.
Absolutely.
I'd like to second that. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. I really love the TRA presentation, and it's always good to see all the great things that you guys are working on. So thank you for sharing that, and I love the video. So thank you again for all that you do. We appreciate it.
So I was just gonna mention the same thing. Thank you to all the years for all the impactful, touching to the district of all the students and the community. So it's greatly appreciated. I know over the years, it might seem like, but it does make a difference, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Immeasurable.
And I definitely thank you for everybody, and definitely thank you for TRA. I know that you were both new hires this year. And I just appreciate the fact that you were able to bring that together and give us a great presentation, what's happening down there. I appreciate it very, very much. And I will miss all of the teachers so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, the board will be adjourning this, point,
Executive session.
and we're going to be going to executive session for,
Both, safety and legal matters.
safety and legal matters. So I have to close the meeting first, right? Or do I
Adjourn.
adjourn to executive session? Do I have a motion to adjourn to
8:23.
yeah, 8:23? And
So moved.
Tiana,
Yep.
Second.
Molly? At 8:23.
And then we'll-
Have a wonderful journey home, folks, and thank you for staying with us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.